not leaving your car unlocked to always knowing where your credit card is. Police say there are plenty of ways to stop potential crimes before they even happen. And in this month's edition of our regular RCMP interview, Bart Petiasic sits down to talk with Staff Sergeant Dave Callist on what you can do to protect yourself from becoming a victim.
And we're joined by Staff Sergeant Dave Callist of the Lloydminster RCMP. Thanks again for joining us here, Dave.
Thanks for having me.
So a common thing we've been seeing in the news recently is the form of credit card thefts and credit card fraud. Can you tell me exactly what criminals are doing?
Well, there's a number of scams, I guess, that criminals can be involved with credit cards. Certainly theft of credit cards is one problem, but also getting the information from people's credit cards and then using that in a fraudulent manner is it's also a problem. So that's what we're seeing. It can be simple as the theft of the credit card or the information that you think is secure is now out there being used by somebody in a fraudulent way.
And so how can people and shopkeepers protect themselves from crimes like this?
Well, it's very important to know where your credit card is at all times. So you should never lend it out to anybody. You should not write, if you have a PIN number associated to it, don't write it on the back of the card. If somebody phones you up and says that they're from your bank and there's a problem with the credit card and can they verify the information and can you get your card and give them that, don't do it. Tell them, no, I'm going to phone the bank back and verify that they're actually the people that are calling you, because once that information is out there, it's up. Anybody can use that information, to obtain goods, certainly online, and then you become a victim of fraud.
And a topic that seems to come up a lot in Border City is the theft of cars here. Can you explain to me what exactly we're seeing?
Well, again, it's cold weather, so a lot of people are leaving their cars running outside. They're unlocked, and that's just asking for somebody to step into it and drive it away. So what we do is we tell people the easiest thing you can do is lock your vehicles, keep valuables in the vehicles out of sight, because if people see an unlocked vehicle or try the door handles, it's very easy for them to go inside and then you become a victim of theft. So I guess having the change taken out of the ashtray is one thing. It can go right up to losing the entire vehicle. So just some common sense precautions and people will be fine.
All right, and thanks again for joining us here, Dave. That was Staff Sergeant of the Lloydminster RCMP, Dave Callist.
Well, it's time to turn back the clock in this installment of Retrospect this week from the archives. Now, in this edition, Brian Hardy brings us a story of a suspicious elevator fire, and we see just how closely Lloydminster's growth is tied to the bi-provincial upgrader.
It's January 1989 and the future looks bright for the Border City.
It won't be long until the Bar Colony Heritage Cultural Centre opens in early March. The Leisure Centre will follow shortly after when it opens in mid-May. Construction on Lakeland College will continue into the summer with completion near the end of the year. Construction on roads is planned, particularly twinning the Saskatchewan side of the Yellowhead and extending 62nd Avenue. Finally, the biggest hopes lie in a patch of land east of the city.
Maybe after it's on stream and our population is stabilized, we may continue after that having steady growth. But again, it depends on the price of oil.
Most people, including Mayor Pat Gulak, are counting on this patch of land for economic relief in 1989. But the city is still heavily dependent on oil and needs to diversify in order to get away from the boom-bust cycle. As Lloydminster heads into 1989, better times are definitely ahead. Gwen Polakowski, Broadcast Center News.
This week in 1991, a spectacular fire lit up the night sky.
Last night, one of Lloydminster's oldest elevators burned to the ground under suspicious circumstances. The Saskatchewan Wheatbowl elevator was the second one built in the area in the mid-1920s. In an odd coincidence, the first one ever built burned to the ground as well. Last night's fire and the fact that it comes so close on the heels of the Blackwood fire has people mumbling arson. Yerke feels this particular fire could not have been an accident.
Well, I don't think we're prepared to accept the fact that these fires that are happening are circumstantial.
He adds if something like this happens again, extra staff may be required to stay at night so that something like this doesn't happen again.
Join us next time when we introduce you to the Clausen Puck on Retrospect, this week from the archives.